Worst games ever.
Today's exhibit comes from 1999. Core Design, the Derby studio that gave the world Lara Croft. Tomb Raider, one of the defining games of the PlayStation era. And, 2 years earlier, they had also produced Fighting Force. Now, Fighting Force wasn't exactly Street Fighter II, Final Fight and The Second Coming rolled into one compact disc. 4 characters, 2-player co-op, branching routes, weapons, destructible scenery. You could pick up a tire and smack a criminal with it. It understood its purpose. You didn't require an 8-page mission briefing explaining the geopolitical consequences of hitting somebody with a dustbin. You and your mate walked forward and battered people. Simple, elegant, civilized. So naturally, Core Design made a sequel. By removing most of that, Fighting Force 2, or how to take a perfectly straightforward beat 'em up and give it an identity crisis. AKA Core Design in the usual terrible, we've made Lara Croft. We can do what we like. And thus began the ancient British video game development technique known as, we had one enormous hit, put some of that in everything. The first Fighting Force gave us Hawk Manson, Mace Daniels, Alana McKendricks and Ben Smasher Jackson. 4 characters, different strengths, different attacks, and you could play cooperatively. So which characters return in Fighting Force 2? Hawk, that's it, Hawk, just Hawk. It's called Fighting Force, but apparently the Force has suffered substantial redundancies.
It's the future, and the world is controlled by the trans-global corporations of the late 20th century. These days, seems everything has its price, even the law. This is the world of the Psy-Cops, covert operation teams who operate outside of the system, against the system, because sometimes actions speak louder than words. Psy-Cops has targeted the Nakamichi Corporation. These boys just stepped over the line. Their crime: illegal bioweapon program, genetic weaponry based on human DNA. We got enough on Nakamichi to justify a raid, and that's where I come in. Psy-Cops Agent Manson, Hawk Manson. Like other agents, I'm packing the usual body enhancements and enough firepower to take out a city. Anything to give me the edge. It's an invisible war we're fighting, and if you get caught, no one will ever know. But I ain't got no problem with that. The Psy-Cops directive is my kind of ride.
The story concerns the Nakamichi Corporation, which is conducting illegal cloning experiments. Hawk Manson has joined Psy-Cops and must infiltrate corporate facilities, destroy sensitive information and eliminate key personnel. Which sounds quite exciting. Secret conspiracies, illegal biotechnology, corporate warfare, genetic weapons, cloning, international espionage. This could be tremendous. Unfortunately, your principal investigative technique is destroying office furniture. Everything in this universe has apparently been manufactured to the strictest standards of the British Leyland Explosive Furnishings Division. Shoot a computer, boom. Hit machinery, boom. Attack something vaguely metallic, boom. I wouldn't risk opening the fridge. You'd destroy Derby. This isn't corporate espionage. This is Office Furniture Demolition Simulator 1999. After 20 minutes you start noticing the gameplay loop. Walk through corridor, fight man, smash room, find door, door locked, find key, walk through corridor, fight man, smash room, find another door, door locked, find another key, walk through corridor, forget where you came from. Return to previous corridor. Discover you have just completed a full circuit of the building. Turn around. Hawk turns around. Eventually. This isn't adventure, this is just some prat running around and things just explode. And Hawk handles with all the urgency of a narrowboat entering Stoke Ruin. This man is supposed to be an elite covert operative. Yet turning 180 degrees feels like obtaining planning permission. And I can only imagine what's going through his head while it's happening. Right, enemy behind me. This is fine. I shall now turn around. There we are. A smooth, professional maneuver. No sudden movements. No panic. Just a highly trained agent calmly rotating his entire body at the speed of continental drift. Don't worry, I've learned turning from nightmare.
Save myself some trouble.
Incoming status. Mission target follows.
They got a fresh target. Well, okay. Looks like I get to ride in style.
This begins the decline of Core Design. Since the success of Tomb Raider, Core Design's new mindset was, hey, Metal Gear Solid was popular, let's copy that. But clearly did not have a clue on what made it work and never stopped to think. We have Metal Gear Solid at home. Now we come to the stealth. The game was presented as having espionage elements. So naturally I approached the first encounter expecting guards, patrol routes, observation, tactical decision-making. Right, I've been spotted. Let's see what happens. Apparently the punishment for failing stealth is playing Fighting Force. Excellent. It's stealth where being discovered merely activates punching. Wow, how thrilling. Remember when this was used to be Fighting Force? Now the camera. Outside, it's occasionally acceptable. Inside, it becomes fascinated by architecture. Honestly, the cameraman is sick of this as I am. Hawk is being attacked somewhere behind this concrete pillar. I presume. I haven't seen him for 12 seconds. There he is. No, that's a ventilation duct. There's the enemy. No, that's Hawk. Who's winning? I have no idea. Perhaps the pillar. The pillar has certainly had the most screen time. The levels are enormous. That sounds impressive until you realize they're primarily enormous collections of corridors, corridor, room, corridor, laboratory, corridor, storage room, corridor, room containing 4 men, corridor, door requiring keycard, corridor, wrong corridor, corridor, you've been here before, corridor, potentially the toilets at Gatwick, corridor, France, I genuinely don't know anymore.
Gotta work fast. Guards will be burning my heels in no time. Guess I'm gonna be out of town for a while. Too much open ground.
Unit responding. Very quiet.
Have to keep it low and fast.
Core Design, creator of Tomb Raider everybody. And then there's the artificial intelligence. The word intelligence is being extraordinarily generous here. Observe. Hawk enters room. Guard sees Hawk. Guard has a gun. Hawk has a gun. Guard considers his options. Guard continues considering his options. Guard is apparently consulting citizens' advice. Hawk shoots him. Problem resolved. The saddest thing is that Fighting Force 2 isn't even especially satisfying when it's doing the thing written on the box. Fighting. You've got punches, kicks, weapons, guns, but encounters lack the brisk arcade rhythm of the original. The first Fighting Force was uncomplicated. A criminal approaches. You hit him with something. His friend approaches. You hit his friend with something larger. Another criminal appears. You throw a car engine at him. That's video gaming. Here, combat is regularly interrupted by positioning, awkward movement, searching rooms and negotiating enormous industrial spaces. It wants more depth, but instead of adding depth to Fighting Force, it adds distance between fights. And this is where Fighting Force 2 becomes fascinating. Not good, let's not become irresponsible, but fascinating, because Core Design wasn't some hopeless studio that didn't understand three-dimensional games.
Looks uninhabited. Ideal place for Nakamichi to hide out.
These were the people behind Tomb Raider. They knew third-person level design. They knew animation. They knew exploration. They knew how to create atmosphere. They had created one of video gaming's defining characters, which makes Fighting Force 2 feel less like incompetence and more like somebody applying lessons from the wrong exam. And people wondered why Core Design eventually went out of business. This is what makes the sequel especially irritating. The original knew exactly what it was. It was a big stupid arcade beat 'em up. And I mean that affectionately. Grab a mate, choose a character, pick up whatever isn't nailed down, hit criminals with it, proceed. It wasn't trying to discuss biotechnology. It wasn't pretending Hawk was Solid Snake. It didn't require you to wander through 17 laboratories looking for Derek's security pass. It gave you immediate arcade pleasure. Fighting Force 2 apparently looked at all that and thought, what if there was considerably less fun between the punches?
Nowhere left to run. Base, if you hear me, I need a ride. Now!
Hawk, make it fast! We don't have long!
Apparently after the success of Tomb Raider, Core Design had no idea what to do afterwards. So is Fighting Force 2 one of the worst games ever made? Technically, no. It functions. Mostly, you can complete it. The graphics have moments of atmosphere. The environmental destruction is amusing for approximately the amount of time it takes to discover that everything explodes. There are worse games, far worse. Games assembled from bugs, despair and contractual obligations. But Fighting Force 2 earns its place here for another reason. It is a spectacularly bad sequel. It takes a series whose appeal was incredibly easy to understand. 4 characters plus co-op plus arcade fighting plus ridiculous environmental violence. and replaces that with one character plus no co-op plus pseudo-stealth plus keycards plus enormous corridors plus cumbersome movement. It commits one of sequel design's greatest sins. It tries to become more sophisticated by removing what made the original enjoyable, and then doesn't actually become sophisticated. It's not Metal Gear Solid. It's not Tenchu. It's not Siphon Filter. It's certainly not Tomb Raider. And after removing so much of Fighting Force, it's barely Fighting Force either. It's Metal Gear Croft Force. A game where an international super spy infiltrates a sinister cloning conspiracy and spends half his working day kicking photocopiers. With Core Design's reputation of never telling the difference between a good idea and a bad idea, is it any wonder they would end up making hackneyed junk like this? And they invented Lara Croft.